2024 was just not another year on the calendar. It was a crucible that tested the mettle of Nigeria's leaders and citizens alike. The judiciary, often criticized for its sluggishness, showed glimpses of independence in landmark rulings that boosted confidence in the rule of law. Civil society, energized by youth-led movements, continued to demand accountability, holding leaders to their promises with a tenacity that refused to be silenced. On today's episode of Newsweek, we'll bring you highlights of major talking points we've had on the show in the course of the year. Stay with us. The federal government said the tax reform bills will bring about equitable allocation of resources with the elimination of over 50 nuisance taxes suffered by local businesses. Of course, in the studio right here with me, I've got Supriala Membre, a political analyst, ever vibrant, ever present. Good to have you on the show.
Nice to be here.
Fantastic. Now, according to the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, right? Malam Larry Issa, he said the bills were designed to scrap the over 50 nuisance taxes suffered by local businesses. Now, this is a welcoming development, knowing that finally local businesses will start breathing.
Obviously, it's a long time coming.
Right.
If we are very serious about, utilizing taxes as, will I say, as a weapon for development. Nuisance taxes has always been, a problematic for businesses, especially, MSMEs, that is micro, medium scale business. Yes, in fact, some people allege that nuisance taxes are even more than officially collected taxes.
Yeah.
But when they say it's going to eliminate nuisance taxes, we now ask the question, who are those behind the nuisance taxes?
Okay.
For instance, the bill is saying the federal government will be the collector of these taxes and then allocation of these taxes through derivation formula, which I personally do not agree with as the ad hoc committee, for horizontal and vertical derivation.
Okay.
Because I believe that the FAC has that responsibility as constitutionally empowered.
Right.
And as we've seen even within the internal memos of the FAC, when they were asked to give an opinion, they said, they are opposed to it, not officially, but unofficially. If you read through the reports, you will see it, even when they came out to deny and say, another thing. But the point is this: who collects the nuisance taxes? They are local governments. They are, unofficial tax collectors.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission revealed that the C753 duplexes located in Cadastral Zone, Abuja, were acquired by Godwin Emefiele and cronies with forest kickbacks. EFCC had earlier announced the recovery of the property from an unnamed ex-government top brass, describing the property as its biggest single recovery since establishment in 2003.
Yes, I was actually not very happy with the EFCC because they decided to treat the government official as Voldemort, the name of a person who was not to be mentioned in J.K. Rowling's popular book, Harry Potter. Why they not mention? Why they not say Godwin Emefiele and his cronies?
Why hiding it?
Why hiding it? We already have an idea that billions and billions of dollars.
And to even think he's already in...
he's already... So why not just say, okay, so why is it that the newsmen are having to score through court papers in order to be able to even link it up to him at all? So till today, I've not even seen any EFCC press release that says that, okay, this is the person that we got 753 duplex units from. And that's huge.
Our society is a society that celebrates, impunity, that celebrates corruption. You find that people will go to jail, come back, our society celebrates them, they welcome them, people will steal and they will be convicted, and society will say they are witch hunting them. So it is really a sad one on our side, and that is the reason why either we are not hearing the news, or two, that the society believe that nothing will come out from it, that in the past we have had examples of people like that, and nothing happened, because what happened at the end is you hear people bargaining and you don't see anything happens to these people. So now over time, we will still come back to the judicial system, because the justice system in the country has not really helped the citizen to believe in them, and that is why you see them being quiet, and there's no uproar after. Even before the name was mentioned, there was so much noise. After the name was mentioned, people just went, you know, they went on their normal businesses to say, oh, nothing will come out from it, because in the past they have seen things like that. Until when we start stripping people of what they have attained, even before they had stolen or embezzled anything, before any allegation, because don't forget, we can't call them criminal yet because no law has convicted them. They remain innocent before the law of court. So we cannot still say that, but from evidence, from what we have seen, what will be somebody, one person or a few people be doing with such, such duplexes, 753, it is moguls, it is annoying, it is sad that is happening in such an economic situation that we find ourselves in the country.
Finally, the founder of Balarabe University, Balarabe SAN, justified his lawsuit against human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi, who was remanded by a magistrate's court during the week. The Ekiti State Police had arrested Farotimi in Lagos and arraigned him in a court in Ado-Ekiti after a petition was written by Balarabe over allegations of defamation. Meanwhile, the Take It Back movement, convened by the former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, has begun mobilization for protests in Ekiti, Lagos, criticizing how the police and the judiciary handle the matter. Of course, I have Justice Ojeno in the House, and of course, Olayinka Daniels is still standing by on Zoom. Justice Ojeno, very quickly, let's be very swift with this. Now, with the way things have played out, this is a case of defamation. I mean, how would you react to the whole news?
With respect to protests and Omoyele Sowore, as much as possible, we have to ensure that everybody has a right to express themselves, but they must restrict the rights of their freedom of expression to the provisions of the Constitution and provisions of our law.
We are saying that police came all the way from Ekiti to arrest in Lagos. Now, if you need to arrest someone in Lagos and you are from another state, you have to go through the command, then to the divisional command, to the divisional police of that particular division. I mean, those are the ones that have jurisdiction. So there are a number of, procedures that needed to be followed as to signing some papers to take him out of Lagos. I don't know if that was done. So if that wasn't done, then this man, don't forget, all these are things that, well, the fighters, they know what they are doing. Because don't forget that even the Ekiti, the man was taken to. The criminal law of Ekiti does not make, in fact, doesn't have such law in Ekiti. The law of criminal defamation in Ekiti doesn't exist. What exists was demeanor, and that was under 6 months, that is under 3 years to 6, nothing less than 6 months to 3 years,
right.
Which is bailable. So what they are taking him for, they are taking him to Ekiti to be prosecuted in Ekiti. Now the question is, can the Attorney General of Ekiti State prosecute crime? Because what now they are talking about is cyber crime. The charges against him also now is cyber crime. Now the question is, does Ekiti criminal law as such law under the criminal law of Ekiti? No. If you look at section 70 of criminal law of Ekiti, it does not exist. So all those people, they know what they are doing. Now the federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation is supposed to come on the Criminal Act. That is why you're seeing, I don't know who drafted that charge of IG against Farotimi. So a lot of things are wrong with this whole procedure, with the process, with the police, with the court. But since the matter is in court, and again, you see, we are talking about, judicial system. Right. A matter has been presented in court. And a magistrate, the first thing to do is to remand someone in prison custody without even looking at the charges.
Welcome back. The nation's battle with insecurity dominated the headlines in 2024, where the military achieved significant gains in the fight against insurgency in the Northeast. But these successes were tempered by revelations of corruption within the security apparatus as allegations of arms sales to criminal groups emerged, casting a shadow over progress made. We have more highlights of major talking points we've had on the show in the course of the year. Earlier this week, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa called for the extradition of factional leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Simon Ekpa, from Finland, where he was arrested, to Nigeria. There is no extradition treaty between Finland and Nigeria, which looks almost impossible, right, for the extradition of Simon Ekpa. So how realistic is this dream of the defense chief seeking his extradition to Nigeria? Okay,
for me, I don't think it's impossible. The fact that there is no extradition treaty doesn't mean that a la carte there cannot be prosecution or processing of anybody of anybody who is seen to have broken extraterritorial law, especially not that of Finland, but that of another country. So there can still be different arrangements. There can be extraordinary rendition as between countries that where there are no treaty agreements with respect to exchange of persons who may be fugitives in the eyes of the law. So it's not impossible. They can still, after processing and ensuring that it meets the conditions for being transferred to Nigeria. And an example of it would be if the punishment for whatever it is being charged for in Nigeria is something that the punishment is not acceptable in Finland. If that same offense had been committed in Finland, that usually causes a bar, especially in Western countries. For example, if whatever it is going to be charged in Nigeria for comes with the sentence of death, and they, as a country, they don't sentence anyone to death, they will not extradite the person to Nigeria. So that's one of the major considerations. But I also pray
that's what you're saying in essence. That's like the human right angle of the whole situation, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's looking very slim. They are factionalized since the arrest of the detention of the rendition and detention of Nnamdi Kanu. They've been factionalized. He operates the IPOB autopilot group, whatever that means. Whatever that means. So, but the truth is there's incontrovertible evidence of this man saying things that led to the deaths of people, giving orders of sit at home and people dying, you know, as a result of that order he gave. So these orders were given via the social media, via the electronic, radio, media and the rest of that. This evidence is before us. So we can't say that he's not a member of IPOB. If he's not a member of IPOB or their IPOB, their own group of IPOB, he's a member of his own group of IPOB. But the point is that whatever he has done has affected the country negatively and has cost the lives of people, of innocent citizens. And the truth is that he has to be brought back. This example of Nnamdi Kanu as a prime example.
Okay, I'm throwing this question to the both of you now, so it appears we have to be very, meticulous with time. Now, experts are also saying that bringing Simon Ekpa here would escalate tensions, especially having Nnamdi Kanu still in detention, and that right now, nursing our economy back to life to ease the burden on Nigerians should be the topmost on the radar.
I think I beg to differ a bit.
You beg to differ?
On that, because Simon Ekpa doesn't command the kind of loyalty that Nnamdi Kanu commands.
But here's the argument that if you bring him to Nigeria, you are looking at surmounted issues back and forth. The escalation in the north, in the southeast will continue to rise, and that could destabilize the current renewed hope agenda.
I don't think so at all. I think that from what I've seen so far, Simon Ekpa is a small fry compared to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I feel that we shouldn't compare them at all. It's apples and oranges at this time. Nnamdi Kanu stands in his own right, in his special. He has a special pride of place when it comes to the size and the kind of chaos and the magnitude of chaos that can be caused. So I feel that Simon Ekpa so far has just been a mere distraction.
Okay, if you're saying he's a mere distraction, shouldn't we just allow him to be tried in Finland?
No, he should be brought back to... He's a terrorist. He has to be brought back to face what he has done. This problem started with the fundamentals, first of all. Our handling of the crisis, the political crisis in Niger Republic. is what is causing this.
Okay.
Burkina Faso stands, Niger Republic is a buffer zone for Burkina Faso and Mali to Nigeria. And now they are a confederation, right? They all have military juntas in place, and they are now collaborating together. You can't tell me that terrorists move from Burkina Faso to Niger Republic, down to Nigeria, enter deep into Nigeria, and the intelligence services and the security operatives in those countries do not know. You understand? Again, if you look at the fallout from our handling of that situation in Niger Republic, it has caused a trust deficit. Look at the multinational joint task force. Look at the position of Chad before and now in that body. You know, the NSA, in a very right move, went to see the president of Chad, the head of state of Chad, you know, and I think that's efforts to repair what has been broken, the trust that has been broken.
Earlier today, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of the All Progressives Congress, APC, winner of Saturday's governorship election in Ondo State. Aiyedatiwa was declared winner after polling the highest number of votes in the election. The incumbent governor battled Ajayi Agbola of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olorunfemi Festus of the Labour Party, and of course Abbas Mimiko of the Zenith Labour Party, of course, among others. In Saturday's poll announcing the result in Akure, the state capital, INEC's returning officer and vice-chancellor of the Federal University Lokoja, Professor Akinwumi Olayemi Durotimi, said Aiyedatiwa polled a total of 366,781, while Ajayi got 117,845, while LP had 1,162. And of course, joining us to discuss this, I have the Executive Editor, TVC Communications, Kayode Adende. Good to have you on the show, Kayode.
A pleasure to be with you.
It's my first time having you on the show here, and it's a pleasure indeed. Now, talking about what transpired throughout the election, we saw a landslide victory for Governor Aiyedatiwa. Now, owing to the fact that he might not be going for a second term because of the fact that he was already sworn in as governor, you know, prior to this time, what are we going to be looking at? What should be his main focus and priority now that he has won the election?
I think quite a lot of things. It's just to say that he's got to be a governor of all. He's got to be a governor attending to everyone. If he could win in all the 18 local government areas, it sends a whole lot of message that he is wanted, he is needed, and he needed to, you know, set the ball rolling. Having said that, it's for us to also bear in mind that the two major candidates are from the same senatorial zones. And we also had a situation where he even defeated his main rival in his local government, that's Seudu. But beyond that, we're looking at, but I don't want to dabble into the idea of one time or no time. You know, he has just secured a four-year term, and the four-year term should be his focus. It should be his primary focus. The debate on that, trust me, politicians will still want to test the waters by going to court about the issue of the two terms. Remember the story of Goodluck Jonathan then when he said that he can't contest, then he went to court. What is sad is that this may not be a litmus test for INEC, because as far as we are concerned, we predicted this, we knew this was not going to be a contest. As far as we are concerned, you can see their agents not disagreeing with the outcome of the result. Because in elections, some people don't know this. It is not any form of inducement. When you are dealing with the election, your agents must be paid. Your agents must be mobilized. That's what they call mobilization. So if you have an agent who is probably not mobilized, I haven't said that Agbola did not pay them, but you need to mobilize them, you need to campaign, you need to go around the state to say that, okay, we are ready for this election, ensure that you do not allow foul practices from the opponent. These are things that marks you as being prepared for election.
Emotions ran high as the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, was laid to rest at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja on Friday. The ceremony brought together family, colleagues and dignitaries to bid farewell to the late Army Chief. The procession began at precisely 3 p.m. when Lagbaja's remains arrived at the cemetery. President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru, and the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun each took turns laying wreaths at the grave.
It's very personal for me because I had the opportunity of meeting the late Lieutenant General. Yes. In fact, if you check my page, you will see him on my page, where it's quite touching. This was a man, the first set of media guys that he met, I was included, and he had a one-on-one with us just to tell us how ready he is to stamp out terrorism, banditry, and all kinds of criminalities, and definitely to protect the integrity, to protect the country as it is. But it's so sad that we're talking about Lagbaja as late. It's so sad. And the president captured it well. The president did say that one of the best appointments he made was that of Lagbaja.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what is going through his mind. This is someone that they must have planned together. They must have done all kinds of stuff. Those who are taking over, bear in mind the kind of leadership that he provided.
Yeah.
There are videos everywhere about how he was leading. He was at the front.
Yeah.
He was even blocking some of those terrorists.
The only soldier to command 2 battalions.
Exactly. So this was a man that it was a big loss. And I'm so impressed with the presidency, how he was honored. He wasn't just conferred CF, the president was there, the vice president was there.
Everybody was present.
Every important person. He sent a lot of signal.
So in a landmark decision, the federal government of Nigeria and the organized labor have reached an agreement on a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. This agreement comes after extensive negotiations and is expected to provide significant relief to Nigerian workers who have been grappling with economic challenges. Right now, the problem we're having right now, there's concerns that some states cannot boast of their IGR compared to other counterparts, all right? And that in this regard, the new agreed fee might be a problem. Do you also share the same sentiment?
Yes, to an extent, I share that opinion. But looking at it from the perspective of the governors,
right,
they are the one in charge. They are the one who they know if they will be able to afford that minimum wage, if they will be able to pay it in their various states. But would they be honest enough to give us the actual state of their economy, in each of the states of the Federation?
Yeah.
Would they be honest enough to be realistic, to tell us that this is what is coming, we won't be able to pay it, this is what is coming, we will be able to pay it? They have to be very honest with us and realistic. That's where the issue lies.
The removal of fuel subsidy gave so much money to the governors. Initially, they used to share about 600 billion. Today, they share about 1.3 trillion. Because to accommodate these wages, government was of the opinion of removing the fuel subsidy. Today, they have so much money to play around. So I don't see any governor who said they cannot be able to pay 70,000. So they should be able to do that.
Upon funding it, then we should look at the dimension of the insecurity, of course, especially in the northern part of the country. So we should solve the government should solve the problem of insecurity. They should take it as a priority. Because if there's no security, no one will farm. There has been issues about, farms getting burnt, farmers getting all these things. So there's need to work on the security of the country so that farmers can farm with peace of mind.
We've never had it like this, that there is a food shortage in Nigeria. In those days when we were in the primary school, secondary school, you'll find out that every school plants vegetables, cassavas. It was a responsibility, collective responsibility, right from time. Today, so many of us have abandoned agriculture. If the government will make it as a policy, farm what you can eat. Even across your house, plant plantain, plant vegetable, plant what your family can eat. Every local government, plant what you can eat. Every community, plant what you can eat. Before you know it, in fact, there will be enough for everybody.
All right, following a recent Supreme Court judgment affirming the autonomy of local governments, 13 states in Nigeria have swiftly moved to schedule council elections. The ruling, which declared it unconstitutional for state governors to withhold funds allocated to local government councils, has prompted states to ensure democratic governance at the local level. This development is seen as a significant step towards strengthening grassroots democracy in Nigeria. The Supreme Court's decision mandates that local government councils must be democratically elected.
Yes, we really have a lot to do. At times, the government of today, they are making efforts. But it's not about only the government. We should also look inward. We should look at the city. We ourselves as citizens, what are we doing? You know, it's quite ridiculous to see people falsifying documents so as to get to UAE, all those things, you know. So it is important that the citizens, we should imbibe the attributes of patriotism. We should become more patriotic, that even in the country and outside the country, we put ourselves in good light.
And that's all on Newsweek for 2024. Thank you for staying with us. 2025 holds more promises. Until then, happy holidays and be safe. My name is Mark Otabo.